So the question is the man that gravity forgot enough to get the undisputed future of the WWE ready for the apex predator at Extreme Rules? What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here to talk to you about Raw tonight, which was awesome, and other people will tell you otherwise, but they are wrong. Before I go on, before I talk about Raw, I do want to say, down in the box below, you will see there are new links. I'm going to try and keep the description box below updated, so that if you want to put questions down for the next Ask the Phoenix, the link will be down in the box below. If you want to take part in whatever the monthly fan interaction is, this month being my question about Seth Rollins' #1 contender, which in actuality we answered tonight, but I still want to know your guys' opinion on it. That will also be down in the box below, as well as the links and contact information and all that sort of thing for all the people that I collaborate and conspire with on a continuous basis, like Heel Steven and OKayFabe, like my friends Kristen and Guapo from the Wrestle Recap Show, all of whom you should check out, all of whom are down in the description box below. Raw tonight was interesting, because this is the Raw after WrestleMania. The Raw after WrestleMania, they can do pretty much anything and they get a pass, because it's one of those weird, bizarro land Raws, where anything they do, from the ridiculous to the sublime, is forgiven because it's the Raw after WrestleMania. This, and I know I referred last week to last week's Raw as WrestleMania's New Year's, but the Wrestling Year's New Year. But I think it really starts this week, because this is where we put on our critical hats and we start analyzing Raws the way we normally would. We knew a couple things going into this match. We knew that John Cena was going to be continuing the Open Challenge. If you saw SmackDown last week, if you saw the debut of the fights on Wednesday night on this channel last week, you knew that John Cena came out. He said he was going to continue the Open Challenge, whether or not, even though he's got his match with Rusev at Extreme Rules, he's still going to continue this Open Challenging, which is cool. The internet and Twitter and dirt sheets and all that were abuzz that apparently both Brad Maddox and Tamina Snuka were backstage at Raw tonight. Would they come back? Stay tuned. We heard on the pre-show that because Michael Cole was injured, that it was going to be JBL and Booker T on commentary, which is bullshit, because when the show proper started, Byron Saxton was with them as well, putting to rest all those rumors that Vince McMahon never wanted him anywhere near a microphone again after last week, which was crap. We found out we're going to get Miz versus Mizdow tonight on Raw, and we found out that Stephanie and Triple H are on vacation after such a hard-done week of putting WrestleMania together and the big stressors of dealing with Brock Lesnar last Monday on Raw. Now, in all reality, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, in their real roles in the WWE, did have quite a lot to do with WrestleMania week, and the presentation of the WrestleMania pay-per-view itself. So, in real life, yeah, go have a vacation. Do it. You gave us a fantastic WrestleMania. Go to your unknown island in the Bahamas, or whatever the hell JBL said, and do it. Raw starts off with a bunch of video clips. We see the Triple H Sting match, we see the Rollins cash in the main event, and we see Big Show winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Now, those three things together sound rather random until you see the Authority in the ring, and Seth Rollins starts talking about how all of WrestleMania was owned by the Authority. I'm the champ. He wishes Triple H and Stephanie McMahon well on their vacation. He is properly getting booed out of the building, along with "You Sold Out" chants as usual. And he goes down, and Kane, oh my god, I know people are sick of Kane in the Big Show, but Kane really was the punching bag of this opening statement, because a couple of times he says, the Authority owned WrestleMania. I mean, I became champion, and Triple H beat the Icon Sting and put the nail in the coffin of WCW, and Big Show won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and Kane was there too! And it's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Show talks about being the greatest giant of all time, saying that the entire roster was living in his shadow, except for Seth Rollins, because we finally have a new, dignified, respectable best for business champion, and he congratulates Rollins, and it's pretty much a love fest. He says, "I'm the future." Rollins, who says, "I'm the future, and I'm the greatest of all time." They're interrupted by Randy Orton. Comes out with mocking applause for Seth Rollins, and he wishes him a congratulations, which gets an even bigger boo from the crowd, which is fantastic. He says, "I enacted the best RKO of my career on you moments before you won that title. I'm not trying to come out here and complain or rain on your parade. I'm just telling you how it is, and I deserve a title shot. It's best for business, so Kane, Mr. Director of Operations, can you make that match, or do you have to call mommy and daddy first?" Which is funny. Kane freaks out. He's been sort of sitting there and stewing the whole time. He says, "I have authority. You should show me respect." And he's very whiny. There are others out there worthy of a title shot. I'm setting up a triple threat match for tonight between yourself and Roman Reigns and Ryback, and each of you has singles matches as well to get you ready for that main event, and yours is right now, and you will face me. The rest of the authority's pissed off at Kane. I'm sure at some point they're going to excommunicate Kane, which will make Kane a babyface again, and nobody will care. Again. But Orton faces Kane in our opening match of the night. Orton pounds and stomps and clotheslines Kane. Kane hits an uppercut on Orton, knocking Orton off the turnbuckle. Kane rides a headlock for a long time. Punches by Orton, uppercut by Kane. Uppercut by Kane gets a near fall. Why does an uppercut get a near fall? I don't know. Kitchen sink and a clothesline in the corner by Kane. Stomps by Kane. A vertical suplex by Kane gets another near fall. A boot, a clothesline, and a typical Orton slam by Orton. Kane bails outside of the ring, gets clotheslined by Orton. Kane eats the guardrail and then nails Randy Orton with a chair shot, getting him the disqualification loss. We have a missed chokeslam and a missed RKO before Kane bails and runs away. Orton wins. He's going into the main event slightly damaged. We have a story going forward. It's great. It's announced to us by the commentators that the other two matches tonight for Roman Reigns and Ryback are going to be Ryback versus Luke Harper. Yay. And Big Show versus Roman Reigns. Yay. Twice. Moving on. The commentators actually take a moment. This is something I really like. This was really, really classy by the WWE. The commentators take some time to discuss AJ retiring. Both the commentators and the guys on the pre-show actually said, can we start the conversation now about AJ Lee being one of the greatest divas of all time? JBL actually mentions the hashtag thank you AJ, and then they put up on the screen the last tweet that AJ put up along with a picture of her boots, which says, "Break the rules, be a fighter, any dream is possible if you're brave enough to do it your own way. Thank you all." Which is a great way for her to say goodbye. There's no angst attached. There's no ill will being put forth by the WWE, especially considering who she's with and all that. Really, really classy by WWE. In the back, Kane is telling off Brad Maddox, who is back, and only back for a couple seconds to get yelled at by Kane. Kane then gets told off by Rollins, who doesn't think that this match should be happening tonight, who doesn't think that Kane should be choosing his opponent for Extreme Rules. They bicker quite a bit. Seth tells Kane that it's best for business if he steps down as Director of Operations. Kane reminds Seth Rollins that he's in charge tonight, and what's best for business is for him to have a match tonight. The commentators discuss Lesnar's actions, and they show a video replay of Michael Cole getting F5'd, which everybody loves because the YWC is weird. Seth Rollins and J&J Security come out to the ring with no knowledge of who they're going to face. And who he's going to face is Neville. Now, I don't want to take anything away from this match, because this is a fantastic match. I'm going to talk about it in a second. But, because he's from NXT, this was the best thing on Twitter tonight. This was the best thing WWE's done in forever. In forever. If Neville wasn't from NXT, the exact opposite would happen. You would have had everybody tearing up the internet about how dare a brand new guy on his second week get to rub elbows with the champion already. He's putting a rocket up its ass. He's being super pushed. He's Ryback. He's Sheamus. He's John Cena, etc., etc. But because he's from NXT, it's totally okay. He should be the champion, shouldn't he? On the other side of the coin, I will say that Adrian Neville, or Neville, I should say, being the next big promising singles name to come out of NXT, it's kind of appropriate that he has a match with Seth Rollins. And I think Seth Rollins is in a very unique position as far as NXT goes and as far as the promotion of NXT goes, because Seth Rollins is the most successful NXT product in the company right now. Seth Rollins is the first NXT prodigy. He was the first NXT champion, and he's the first NXT champion to be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And I hope in their promotion, in their pushing of NXT, they really hit that home going forward. I know they talk about the Lucha Dragons and how they had a tag team legacy in NXT, and hopefully that translates on Raw. Hopefully they do a similar thing to that with this. I still go back. I still say the tournament to crown the very first NXT champion, the finals coming down between Jinder Mahal and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins versus Jinder Mahal is one of the most underrated matches in NXT history. And you can come down on me because Jinder Mahal was in 3MB. How can you like something he did? Go back and watch the match. I promise you it's a good match. Anyways, so they bicker and they bicker, and then Kane gives him this match. Seth mocks Neville for a while. Loud Let's Go Neville chants and loud NXT chants. I really hope the NXT chants die down. And I don't mean that in any respect to NXT. I like NXT. I want chants like Let's Go Neville. Or, I think at one point there was a Gravity Forgot chant, which was awkward and didn't last very long. But I want these guys, when they come up, to be chanted for who they are, not just because they're on the yellow team. Does that make sense? I like NXT. I really, really do. I think NXT deserves more exposure than it gets. I think NXT should take over SmackDown, and you should have WWE Raw and NXT SmackDown. I think these are all things that need to happen. I think NXT needs to go on the road. I think it needs to grow. I think it's a fantastic brand. I think it's a fantastic link in the WWE chain. All of that. But I want these guys to be cheered for who they are, not just because they came off the yellow show. Does that make any sense at all? I hope that doesn't make me sound like a dick, because I'm not trying to bash NXT. I want these guys to be cheered for who they individually are. If Bray Wyatt fighting Undertaker at WrestleMania got NXT chants instead of people singing "He's got the whole world in his hands," or the what I love was the Samoa Joe-ish chants of Wyatt's gonna kill you, Bray's gonna kill you, because it was specific to him, and people have connected to him on an individual basis, not just because he comes from the yellow show. I really hope, and I wish the same success for guys like Neville, for guys like The Ascension, for guys like the Lucha Dragons, Sami Zayn when he comes up, hell, even a guy like Baron Corbin, even Kevin Steen when he comes up, Samoa Joe when he comes up. I don't want them to be cheered just... I don't want Samoa Joe to come to Raw and get TNA chants. I really don't. I want Joe's gonna kill you chants, or whatever he's gonna be. I hope he's Samoa Joe, but that's going against it, a lot of things. A lot of mocking by Seth Rollins while all these chants are going on. One shot from Neville gets the match going on proper. A quick roll up by Neville gets Seth Rollins' attention. Elbows by Neville. Elbow by Seth. Clubs by Seth. A snapmare and a lot of boots. Mudhole stomping by Seth in the corner. A cartwheel by Neville and a head scissor by Neville. Corkscrew suicide dive by Neville takes us into the commercial break. Neville eats turnbuckle and suffers a near fall when we come back from the commercial break. Seth chokes him on the ropes, a hard Irish whip, and knee drops to the head by Seth. Seth rides a headlock for a long time because he's a bad guy, and they do that. Instigate by Seth gets another near fall. Multiple knees to the gut by Rollins, an elbow and a couple mounted punches by Rollins as well. And if you need me to tell you this at this point, Neville is the quintessential, look it up in the dictionary, babyface in peril. Oh yes. Elbows to the head and a headlock by Rollins. Jawbreaker by Neville. Flying elbows by Neville. Flying elbows that are eventually cut off by a clothesline by Rollins, which is stiff as fuck and gets a near fall. Slaps by Rollins to the face, you know, paintbrushing him and all that sort of thing. Turnbuckle bomb by Rollins is countered into a head scissor by Neville in a really, really nice spot. A couple of almost Daniel Bryan silly-esque kicks from Neville, but better, are broken up when J&J Security distracts and Seth Rollins gets a successful buckle bomb, curb stomp. Rollins gets the win. Neville looked like $1 million in this match. Rollins looked like $1 million in this match. This was the match of the night. To punctuate the win after the match, obviously Neville's got to eat a second curb stomp because Rollins is the damn champ. We talk about the Marine 4 with starring Summer Rae versus The Miz. And for those of you that want to make fun of me, yes, I am going to go and buy it because the Marine series, not that it should be taken too seriously, but it is a fun little movie series. We then have WWE congratulating The Rock on the success of Furious 7. Which I saw on the weekend, and if you guys take me at my word at all, go check it out. It's a good-ass movie. Seth Rollins fighting The Rock is just funny. it really, or no, not Seth Rollins, Jason Statham. Sorry, Seth Rollins was in the last match. Jason Statham fighting The Rock, because Jason Statham, The Rock, Jason Statham, The Rock, it's one of those. It is a really good movie. The ending of it is sad, obviously. There's a lot in the ending that is a wink and a nod goodbye to Paul Walker, which is respectful, but it makes the ending of the movie kind of uncomfortable. Bottom line, it's a long-ass movie. It's 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes, something like that. But go check it out. I got out of the movies on Saturday, and there was snow on my friend's car after I'd been moving fridges in my t-shirt all day. If you don't like the weather in Canada, wait 5 minutes or so. You'll be fine. Cena comes out doing what I love. The John Cena U.S. title championship match invitational, and it's answered by Stardust. Yeah. We start off with the crowd shouting loud Cody chants at Stardust. Stardust yelling that my name is Stardust. Headlock by Cena to start. Stardust works on Cena's arm. Roll up by Stardust. Slam by Cena with elbow drops and a shoulder tackle by Cena. Delayed vertical suplex by Cena. Clothesline and a near fall by Cena. Cena rides a headlock again because I guess he realizes that we don't like him, so he's acting like a bad guy. I don't know. Back elbow by Cena and a bunch of punches take us into the commercial break. We come back from the commercial break punctuated by a disaster kick by Stardust, which is nice to see when it's landing on John Cena's head. Top rope blockbuster by Stardust is also really nice. We get some wicked counter wrestling, and yes, I said wrestling and Cena in the same sentence, that's fine. Springboard by Stardust is caught by Cena and immediately turned into a powerbomb, which is nice. An attitude adjustment is countered into an Alabama slam. A crossroads is countered into what I can only refer to as a modified Michinoku driver slam by Cena, which is great. Throwback by Cena takes us back a couple years. DDT by Stardust and gets a near fall. A great moonsault by Stardust also gets a near fall. Crossroads by Stardust gets a near fall. The springboard stunner that he used at WrestleMania in conjunction with the attitude adjustment gets the win for Cena. That springboard stunner, I don't care how unpopular this makes me. That springboard stunner, if he keeps doing it, is going to become one of my favorite moves in modern wrestling. And yes, I'm saying that about something that Cena's done, because I can admit what guys that I don't like do when they do something that I do like, unlike some people that I could mention. D&P, just putting it out there. But no, the springboard stunner, especially from a guy that, because you don't expect John Cena to be doing rebound, slingshot, rope heavy type maneuvers, do you? And when he pulls out the springboard stunner, he's only done it in 2 matches. So does he have it absolutely perfect? No. Is it as clean as it could be? No, but that's not really the kind of wrestler that Cena is. Cena is kind of a brawler, so some of the things that he does look quite rough. But it's a great move, and if that's going to be the new setup for the attitude adjustment instead of the 5-knuckle shuffle, which is lame, then I'm all for it. The Bella Twins are out versus Paige and her new partner, Naomi. Now, Paige just went from having the most popular diva in the company as her tag team partner to Naomi, which really makes you think that she pissed in one of the director's cornflakes, doesn't it? It's 3/4 of this match are really good. That's all I'm gonna say. Paige and Bree start with a collar and elbow tie-up. They exchange slaps. Rolling clotheslines by Paige. Nikki hits a clothesline on Paige on the outside and throws her back in the ring. Stomps by Bree, gets her a near fall. A choke and a choke and a knee post. What I mean by that is that Paige is in a sitting position with Bree's knee posted in her back, and she's using that in conjunction with the choke. Looks really, really nice. Springboard double suplex by the Bellas is better than you expect from them. Body scissor by Nikki. She eventually uses the body scissors to rotate Paige over and sits multiple times down on her lower back, which is a nice little move. Nikki misses a splash. Naomi tags in. Here we go. Naomi botches a head scissor. Naomi falls on her ass off the top rope. For reasons. She does the stupid rear view thing that she does. Bree and Paige brawl on the outside. Naomi does something, and that gets her the win. Naomi gets the win this match, I don't know how long it went. I'm not like a lot of people here that say a Divas match isn't good unless it gets 10 minutes, so I'm not counting the minutes, but I do know that Naomi was in this match for about 20 seconds and gets the credit for the win. I really wish... She comes in, botches a head scissor, falls on her ass, throws her ass at somebody and calls it a finishing move, does some other botchy thing that's so botchy I can't even tell you what it was, and gets the win over the champion and her sister with the only... Can't even speak. 3 of the 4 most relevant divas in the company, other than AJ because she just left, and Naomi. Again, I say, 3/4 of this match was great. That last 20 seconds was a bumbling clusterfuck, and Naomi is to blame. Oh, yes. From there, we go to the back. We see the primetime players, as they were on SmackDown, which I forgot to mention, mocking the New Day, talking about, you know, the Reverend Big E and Kofi with his sunken chest, and talking about Xavier Woods' hair. And I love the quote that they're using for Xavier Woods: "If your hair is nappy, ain't nobody happy." And then they turn their attention to the New Day with what do you call them? Football shoulder pads on, with pylons attached to them, making fun of the Ascension. It's all good. They're putting themselves over. They're having a good time. It's one of those things where we know the primetime players are goofy, so they're embracing the goofiness, and I think that that's going to help them out in the long run. Ryback versus Harper, I don't have much to say about. It was an ugly brawl. It was any cliche you can think of for 2 big guys in a match. I proceed to use the cliche of 2 Mack trucks running into each other. Shellshock gets the win for Ryback, obviously. New Day are interviewed in the back. Renee Young asks them about the New Day sucks chant, and they say that it's very, very hurtful, but it's not going to stop them from singing, it's not going to stop them from dancing, and it's not going to stop them from clapping, because we need to clap or we'll snap. And then Biggie looks all intense and shit. And so I think they're trying, instead of turning the New Day heel, I think they're trying to play them off as delusional and unstable, which could be a lot of fun if they play it up the right way. Following on that, we have the New Day versus the Lucha Dragons. They were all tag team partners last week. Now they're fighting for reasons. Chops by Sin Cara to start, a tackle by Big E, a mudhole stomp by Big E, a low corner dropkick by Xavier Woods, and Woods rides a headlock for a long time because they do that. Running knee by Woods, Kalisto hits a springboard corkscrew crossbody, which is as fantastic as you can possibly imagine. Head scissor DDT by Kalisto, Salcido del Sol by Kalisto. Kalisto then jumps over the top rope with what I can only call an inverted splash, taking out the other 2 members of the New Day so that Sin Cara can hit a swanton bomb. And don't correct me, because commentary multiple times referred to it as a swanton bomb. So the Lucha Dragons get the win. Kid and Cesaro are shown in the back by a monitor watching. The idea being that they're keeping an eye on anybody that could be the #1 contenders to their titles, which is great. I think it's funny, last week or sometime in the last little while, somebody corrected me. It's like, no, what Sin Cara does is a Senton Bomb. Well, and accusing me of being a Jeff Hardy mark, because the first time they coined the phrase Swanton Bomb was when they were referring to it as Jeff Hardy's Swan Dive, which eventually became the Swanton Bomb. But that's what they're calling it. That's what commentary is calling it. That's what the website is calling it. That's what I'm going to call it. The fact that it's a Swanton Bomb and Jeff Hardy does it just that little bit better is just a plus. Roman Reigns versus The Big Show is another ugly brawl. I like it. In the middle of the match, they start talking about how big the Big Show is, and JBL says you don't really know how much the Big Show weighs because you'd need a grain scale. Okay, we'll go with that. 3 Superman punches and a spear get the win for Roman Reigns. It's all good. Kane is in the back, and he's still sweaty from his opening contest, and he is approached. Not by Seth Rollins, not by the Authority, not by anybody pissed off at the Authority. He's approached and flirted with by Cameron, Summer Rae, Natalya, and Alicia Fox. This is painful. They ask him for a Battle Royal next week to I don't know, to establish a #1 contender, even though they're already leaning towards the fact that Naomi is the #1 contender, which hurts my fucking soul. So apparently we're gonna have a Divas Battle Royal next week. Sheamus comes out next with his new entrance, which is fucking boss. Cuts another real man promo. If you haven't seen SmackDown last week, if you haven't seen the match between Sheamus and Daniel Bryan, which I will give Daniel Bryan all the credit in the world for, was a fantastic match, he cuts a promo at the beginning, and I talked about this on the Fights on Wednesday night. Basically comes out and echoes the thoughts of anybody that doesn't like the little man wrestlers. He basically comes out and asks where all the real men have gone. I'm here to crush all your little underdog heroes. I'm not here to put smiles on your faces. I'm just here to crush all your hopes and dreams. He comes out and he cuts a more condensed version of that promo. He says, I've always been a warrior in a world of insects. Little heroes don't do you guys any favors because they give you false hope. Guys like Dolph Ziggler. And people ask me why I don't pick on anybody my size. Well, there aren't very many people my size. I like that a lot. Unfortunately, the answer to that is his opponent, which is Mark Henry. He finds out that his opponent is Mark Henry and tries to bail. Mark Henry grabs him by the head and beals him back into the ring to start the match. One-punch knockdowns. One after another from Mark Henry. Tosses Sheamus around a little bit. Sheamus brawls back. Sheamus works over Mark Henry's arm. He's got it in I guess you could call a key lock or an arm lock of some degree. From that position, Mark Henry throws him out of the ring, which is great. Sheamus goes for the 10 beats of the Bowery. This is going to be one of those things, isn't it? Where a heel will typically go to the top rope and go for the 10 punches. A heel will never get to 10 because a face will break it and counter and all that sort of thing. He goes for the 10 beats of the Bowery and gets about 3 of them in. Mark Henry fights back with an elbow. Sheamus fights back with multiple knees to the face. Chops Mark Henry's knee out, hits him with a bro kick, and gets the win. Short match. Wasn't the most exciting match in the world after seeing what he did to Daniel Bryan on SmackDown, for sure. But it did what it needed to do. You put a big roadblock in front of him. The only other option would have been Kane or Big Show if either one of them were baby faces right now. But you put the big obstacle in front of him. He knocked over the big obstacle. Now he's going to go fight Ziggler next, I'm assuming, which is what he said in his promo. It's all good. It's all fine. Whatever. Speaking of Ziggler, I get a graphic up on Raw that says, on SmackDown, we're going to get the tag team match that we should have gotten last week, which is Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler versus Wade Barrett and Sheamus. Also, as they were talking about how dangerous Sheamus was, they made hints to his, co-conspirator Wade Barrett. If they become a tag team, I'm all for it. Miz versus Mizdow. I know a lot of people are probably crying about this because it was supposed to happen at WrestleMania. That's the way it's supposed to happen. But Miz versus Mizdow, the first chapter in this feud, physically anyways, what happened tonight on Raw. It started with a pose-off. Miz took his shades off. Damian Sandow beating up The Miz with shades on for a while, which is great. Mudhole stomps by Mizdow, a boot by The Miz, mounted punches by The Miz, choked by The Miz on the ropes, and, The Miz gives him his own mudhole stomp to think about. Headbutts and elbows by Mizdow are great. Suplex by Mizdow, knees by Mizdow, stomps by The Miz and forearms, electric chair drop by Mizdow, clothesline back and neck breaker by Mizdow. Mizdow blocks this is a great little moment here, because they're back in the corner of the ring. They're sort of, where both guys have swung at each other for a long time, and then they both breathe, and then they both kind of pause for a second, and then they go at it again. Well, there was kind of a moment like that, but Miz went to low blow Mizdow, and Mizdow just caught the foot, and gave him the, really? Just like The Miz. It's great. It's wonderful. Mizdow responds with mounted punches. Miz, however, gets a little bit of leverage, rolls him up enough for a pin with the help of the tights, and Miz gets the win. This is obviously going to go forward. This is obviously going to happen at Extreme Rules, and it's obviously going to be fucking amazing. The main event. Triple threat match to decide the #1 contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania, or not at WrestleMania. Freaking, why the hell do you watch my vids? At Extreme Rules, which is, WrestleMania B, let's be real. Orton versus Reigns versus Ryback. Boots to Orton to start. Backbreaker to Ryback. A double team on Orton by both of his opponents. Ryback and Roman brawl for a little bit. Roman gets a clothesline. Orton and Roman trade punches for a while. I can't read my writing. What the hell does that say? Ryback, I think that says boots. I'm not going to lie. Ryback boots Roman. We're going to go with that. The Authority comes out to the stage to watch the match. Ryback slams Roman Ryback slams Roman. Orton comes back into the ring and slams everybody in sight. Roman decks Orton in the head from behind, in cheap shot, rabbit punch to the back of the head type of idea. Roman hits multiple clotheslines to Ryback, Superman punch to Orton, spinebuster on Roman, meat hook to Roman, spinebuster to Orton, spear to Ryback. The Authority come closer. And here's where it gets fun. Roman, I don't care whether you like him or you don't, Roman hit a sick suicide dive and basically took out the entire Authority. Except for the Big Show, who moved out of the way or shook it off or did whatever the Big Show does. 2 knockout punches in a row to Roman Reigns, leaves him laying in the rampway. At this point, going forward, you know who's going to win. Orton gets beat down by Rollins and J&J Security, but breaks out of them just long enough to hit a RKO out of nowhere on Ryback. Orton gets the win. Orton also gets a curb stomp by Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins stands triumphant at the end of Raw. We have how many feuds going forward? We have Cena, who's going to do this open challenge thing until he fights Rusev at Extreme Rules. We're building up the New Day, whether you like them or not. We're building up the Lucha Dragons. Primetime players are making their way in their own way. There's several people buzzing around the Intercontinental title scene. We're going to get a Battle Royal for a new Divas #1 contender. We have a new #1 contender for the World title. The card for Extreme Rules is shaping up quite well already. You've already got Cena Rusev 3 as it's being billed, as if you look it up online and if you look it up on NoDQ or anything like that. It's already being billed as Cena Rusev 3, and it's going to have a stipulation probably thrown on it probably next week. We're going to get what I'm also assuming is going to be an Extreme Rules match between Rollins and Orton, which means it's going to be a brawl between the Authority and whoever doesn't like the Authority that week, which is fine. We're going to get whoever the new #1 contender is, probably Naomi, taking on Nikki, and if she just wins the belt, I'm giving up on that belt. Again, there's a lot of cool things happening. We're still living on a lot of that post-WrestleMania steam. I think it's going to be cool going forward. I haven't, people talk about the dreaded after-WrestleMania slump. Well, we're only 2 weeks out. It's 8 days since WrestleMania. That's it. That's all. We've still got Mark Henry, we got a lot left in the tank. I'm having a lot of fun. I hope you guys are having a lot of fun too. As I said a couple weeks ago, and I'd like to know again, just because I got a great response and you guys were very, very honest with me, let me know down in the box below. I've rambled for about a half hour now. Let me know down in the box below if you stayed to the end. I really do appreciate it, because I don't think a lot of people do, which is unfortunate. Anyways, that's enough from me. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.